Welcome to today's tutorial. Today I am going to demo the cutest half up braid hairstyle for you guys today. And what I love about this is it looks really interesting. There's a lot going on, but it's actually super easy, so it's really fun. So this is my cute model, Brianna. She has lended me her gorgeous head of hair that we're gonna work with today. So since this is a half up hairstyle, we're gonna start in the front and we're gonna actually start with the braid. So my preference is to have hair hanging out around the face with a half up. I think it's really cute. So we're just going to pull out some of these little pieces in front of Brianna's face. And then we're going to start with a inverted French braid. So a lot of people refer to this as a Dutch braid. So you're just going to take a small section of hair, divided into 3. And instead of doing a normal French braid, you are just going to basically do it upside down. So instead of bringing your side pieces over top, you're going to bring them underneath when you combine it with each section. So we're just going to go ahead and get a good amount of hair with this. I'm taking bigger sections just because I like the way it looks. Alright, and I want the sections to be kind of hidden, so as I go down, I'm bringing the braid angled this way instead of straight back. I think that's cute. And I'm just going to bring it all the way to the back. And when I get to about the ear, I'm going to stop taking sections from the bottom because I like the way it looks. I like the illusion of the braid just kind of sitting on your hair instead of you being able to see all of the pieces coming up into it. So I'm only taking from the top, and I'm going to go to the very middle of her hair, of her head. This is all Brianna's hair. It is beautiful. So amazing. Okay, so when I get to the very middle, I'm going to stop, and I'm just going to keep braiding couple more times down, and I'm going to put a little clear elastic, and this is just to hold the braid in place. You can use a clip, you can use whatever, because we're going to take these elastics out in a second, but for me the elastics are the safest because they're going to stay. So what I'm going to do, I want this this braid to look very natural and more soft. I don't want it to be very perfect and precise, so I'm going to go ahead and loosen it up a little bit to thicken it. So what I love to use for braids, this is by Big Sexy Hair, this is the powder play. So what this is this is actually a texture powder. So I like to sprinkle it right on the braid, and it comes out really fast. So I just angle it and I lightly tap it with my finger. And you can see it's white, so you can see where it's being applied. And then what I like to do is just tap it into the hair. So when you tap it into the hair, it disappears. You can use your finger. I like to use a comb mostly because it has a ton of texture. This almost feels kind of like cornstarch. Like it's very, like if you get it on your fingers, it's very rough. Like there's a lot of friction, and that's what gives it such great texture. So I use the comb first so I don't get it all over my hands, and then I just tap in the rest. And it works well, even though it's white, it works well on brunette hair too. You just have to use a little bit less and work with it. So now that that's in there, it's going to make it really, really easy for me to pull the braid apart. Brianna has beautiful, thick hair, but I just love like a giant, chunky braid. I think they're so pretty, and they look different. Like there's kind of more going on, and they're really pretty. They're just more eye-catching. So I love a full braid. And if you use any sort of a texture spray or a texture powder, you're going to be able to achieve a really fat braid, even if you have thin hair. And because it has so much basically resistance, so much texture in there, it's gonna stay. So usually loose braids tend to slide out. Like they're so cute when you first do them, but as you go throughout your day, it's like your style just falls out. But if you use the texture powder, they do not. So when I'm doing a second French braid over here, I'm just mimicking what I did on the other side. And I like to start with a fairly big section because if you start too skinny, it just kind of looks funny when it's going into that fat braid. Hope the camera can see what I'm doing. I'm going to do this side kind of fast. So Brianna's hair is naturally curly. We have a before video. We'll show you guys. We can actually show now because I'm just doing the same thing we're doing on the other side. So we're going to show Brianna's hair before we straightened it. It's amazing. I kept telling her the whole time, I'm like, I'm so jealous of your beautiful hair. It's so awesome. So we straightened it for her. I just put in a lot of Moroccan oil, and I actually really love the Moroccan oil heat protector spray. You get a lot of smoothing with it, which I love. So I love it for straightening hair because it protects it from the high heat and it makes it really smooth. Okay, so I'm doing the exact same thing on this side. Just doing an inverted French braid. And once I get to the middle, I'm just going to keep braiding down a couple times, and then I'm going to tie it off with a little hair tie. And if you're still working on your French braiding skills, this is a fun braid to do it with because the less perfect it is, kind of the cuter it looks. It looks a little more boho, a little more beachy, sort of romantic. Okay, so more of that texture powder. And I just like to tap it in with my comb. And I don't really do it on the roots. I just try to sprinkle it right on that braid. And if you need it, if it's not fully disappearing, you can just massage it a little bit. And then I like to start at the top. Just pull it apart. And your sections don't have to be pulled apart even. It's okay if they're a little bit different. I like to grab from the very outside of the hair first and just slide that out, and then I'll pull out a couple more pieces. That keeps it from completely flattening your braid. All right. Super cute. So now that we have these two braids, I'm actually going to bring them together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross them over each other because I love the way that looks. And then I'm going to take another clear rubber band and just put them both together in a ponytail, just right over top of each other like that. I think it's cute when you tie them over each other because it just creates a little bit more movement. If you just place them side by side, you can see the line where they come together. I like it on my hairstyles when you can't tell how you did it. So whenever you're covering up lines or pins or sections, when you kind of mesh them together, it kind of makes it a little more interesting. Okay, so now I need to get rid of these rubber bands. I love these little hook tools. You just get them from Amazon. So they have a blade inside. So what you do is you just slide part of the rubber band in and it just cuts it open. It is the very best, especially for long hair like Brianna's where it kind of hurts to take out the rubber bands. So easy peasy. Okay. So now we've done our French braid technique. Now we're going to do a pull through braid technique. So I'm going to grab a little section of hair under, just right under this one, and combine it. So this is going to be our second section. If you can, you want to make them both even. That can be a little bit tricky because if you're grabbing too much hair from the bottom, you're not going to have any hair left hanging down. I want her hair to still look thick, so I want a good amount underneath. So just keep that in mind. So if they're not exactly the same, the section's a little bit thinner, you can pull from your top section up here. So I'll separate these two until they're about even. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip this section together. And I'm going to start on top. So I'm going to start with my top section. I'm just going to split it right in two. Then I'm going to drop it on either side of this section and bring this one through on top. So I'm going to keep doing this all the way down. So I'll explain it again if you didn't catch it. So what you want to do is your two sections that are left hanging out, you're just going to bring those into a ponytail together. This is one of my favorite types of braids because it's super cute, but it's really easy. If braids aren't your thing, this technique, what I'm doing back here, is super easy. Okay, so now we still have our two sections. I'm going to split this little guy in half again. So top one in half, and then you're going to bring your bottom section through it, and you're going to clip it out of the way. I'm just going to put a little rubber band on it again. I just like the little clear ones. I have black ones too, so if I'm doing a brunette or somebody with very dark hair, black hair, I will use the black rubber bands. Okay, so now that that's up, I'm just going to pull on my sections a little bit, and we're just going to do it again. So split right in half, bring the bottom side through, and clip it out of the way. I love these alligator clips because when your hair's in it, they bend to accommodate the thickness. So if you have thick hair like Brianna, they're fantastic. Okay. So as I go, once I get a couple sections down, I'm going to start pulling these apart. Her hair, since it's so thick, I'm not going to add the texture powder down here. But if your hair's on the finer side and you really want it to look full, I would add more of this powder on the braid. You can put the powder on before you even start the braid, before you do the rubber bands, but it adds so much grip to the hair that it makes it a little bit hard to work with, so I like to do it after I do my braid technique. Okay, super cute. So I'm just going to keep doing that. I'm going to split it apart, bring this through. And we are live. Most of my tutorials are live streamed, so if you guys have any questions, you can add them to the live chat, and I can get to those in a second. Do you braid your hair very often, Brianna?
Sometimes. Well, I usually like my sister to braid it, or when I try to braid it,
Yeah. Your hair is so long and thick, it's probably nice to have somebody else braid it.
Yeah.
And Brianna is a twin, so that's awesome. You can just have, you guys can braid each other's hair.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to learn hair. If you start by braiding somebody else first, or a mannequin or something like that, it just eliminates an obstacle for you, because if you're doing your own hair, it's just hard to get your hands behind your head. You can't see what you're doing. So I always tell people just to order like a cheap mannequin head, or if you happen to have a twin, use her. Practice. Okay, so I'm gonna go, you can stop halfway with this. That's really cute. I'm gonna go about 2/3 of the way down. I don't know why, but with half up, sometimes I just don't like the look of the braid going all the way down. I think it's cute if it kind of cuts off. So as I get towards the bottom, when these pieces are thinner like this, just naturally everybody's hair thins out towards the bottom. I like to pull apart each piece as I go, because you don't have as much hair to work with. And you don't have to clip each section. Like this one I'll do without clipping. You just split the one in half, bring it underneath, and lift the bottom up. And you can just keep it out of the way with your hands. It just helps when you're first learning this braid to do the clip method, just because it keeps your sections really clean. It's super easy, but you don't have to do that. Okay, so what I like to do, how I like to finish it, is I don't love always like a hair tie at the end with both of them. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll just take my little comb and I'll just back comb the bottom, and that way the hair spreads apart and it just looks like naturally her hair ended the braid. It's cute, I think, to not have a little rubber band. And I'm also going to show you how to hide this. So I like to hide all rubber bands and all little bobby pins when I'm doing styles. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm just going to pull them apart a little bit more so that each rubber band slides up into the previous braid. I think that's really cute. And you can make this as fat as you want. If you want it super, super chunky, you can really get in there and pull it apart. Okay, so now to finish, I always love to cover the rubber bands. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a teeny cute little section from either side over here, and I'm grabbing it from under this braid because, like I said, I want it to look like the style is all hidden by the braid. I'm going to take 2 pieces and I'm just going to cross them over that rubber band, and I'm going to pin them up like that. I think that's really cute. So we're just going to take a bronze little bobby pin and just push it up in there. Same with this side. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to overlap the bobby pins in a little X. So we already have one in there, so I'm just going to push this one up in there and X it with that other one. And that way they won't slide out, so that hair will stay hidden. And then I'll loosen that a little bit, but I think that's super cute. So I'm just going to give her a little side-to-side spin so you can see. But I just love it. I think it looks really different. It looks very complicated, but it's super easy. If you practice your braiding skills, so this is the inverted French braid, the Dutch braid, and then this is just the pull-through braid. That's all you need to do. And again, just to finish it, I'll just go through and pull little pieces, make sure everything is looking the way I like. You can add more texture, powder. Okay, and then I'm just going to finish with some hairspray. 1 second. Okay, so this is Design Me Hold Me Tight hairspray. Just going to finish. So what I like to do is just push down some of those flyaways. Since this is a textured look, it's going to look a little bit messy, which I love, but I do want some of those flyaways to be pushed down. So that's what you're going to do with your hairspray at the end. So let's go ahead again, now that it is finished, let's go ahead and shoot the before video one more time so you guys can see. We always do the before and after with makeup, so it's fun to do them with hair too. And it's super cute. And this, what I love about this, because there's so many rubber bands in it, this will stay all day. Brianna can run around. She can go to her track meet if she wanted and put it in a pony or something like this. And this will stay. Like, it is not moving. So, super cute. I hope you guys liked it. Thank you for watching. And we will see you in the next tutorial.